Another fine day on Fairfield, DR. It was only a few months after my son was born that I found myself facing the ultimate test of who I was, the kind of man I had become. When my son was born, the wife and I wanted someone to stay home with him at least until we had established some basis of communication. We wanted our pupa to be as safe as we could make him in today's world. We decided that since she had the better insurance, it covered domestic partners since we weren't actually married and our incomes were comparable, that I would assume the role of stay-at-home dad. I was up every 2 hours feeding the little one. She never had to change a diaper. I kept a notebook denoted the times my young charge had a bowel movement. I did it all. A true test of endurance is what that part of the parenting experience is. It was rough, but I wouldn't have traded it for anything. My son and I were super close. Of course, my choice to basically be the traditional mom of the house did not go unnoticed among my friends, especially the more macho ones in the crew, and I soon discovered that my situation was a virtual goldmine for jokes regarding my loyalty to the woman haters club. Also, the time-proven jokes about who in my family had possession of a certain part of my reproductive anatomy were heard on the daily. There were a couple of my buds from that old crowd that were actually upset at our situation, telling me with no uncertain terms that we were throwing off the natural balance of things and literally called my manliness into question. One friend got me so mad about gender roles that I told him he would have to leave my house just as soon as the kitchen floor dried, that is. I don't know if women ever do this, but us men go through life wondering just how we'll react when faced with a life or death situation. We like to believe that we'll be the trooper that keeps his head together when the bullets start flying, but we never really know deep down inside unless that moment comes and our mettle is tested. Mine ended up being put to the test while doing a load of my boy's laundry. True fact, the first couple of times I did his laundry, I had to sit and cry a little about how small his socks were, or his shirts, or how many beanies he had so his little head wouldn't get cold. I had just finished his clothes and pulled everything out of the dryer, dried my eyes, started around the apartment building to the front side where we lived. It was a nice early autumn day, so everyone had their windows and doors open to circulate the air a few more times before old man winter came, making closing those windows and doors necessary. As I rounded the side of two-story brick building, I heard the unmistakable sound of a big truck trying to stop. I looked at the intersection just in time to see a semi-T-bone an elementary school bus full of kids. The truck had run a red light. The impact pushed the bus through the intersection and into a ditch, where the bus hit a power pole with a transformer at the top, causing it to start throwing sparks everywhere. I saw my wife appear at the screen door holding my newly born son, and I yelled at her to call 911. Then I ran to the bus door. The front door was jammed up, and I couldn't get it open, so I ran to the back emergency door, and it came open. The bus had gone nose down in the ditch, so the back was lifted up pretty high. As the door came open, I realized that I was standing ankle-deep in gasoline. The semi had been hauling a load of gas, and apparently the tank had been damaged in the accident and now gas was spilling out all over the place. I looked up at the sparking transformer and came to the realization that I was going to die. Today was going to be my day. But I was going to get as many kids off that bus as humanely possible before I ended up as burnt offerings. I told the kids just to jump on me like I was a big pillow. Then I moved them away from the bus, pointed them to the yard in front of my apartments, then said run like hell over there. One by one, in the space of probably a minute, tops, I had every kid I saw off the bus and into the relative safety of the yard, but it occurred to me that some could be scared and hiding, so I pulled myself up through the back door and onto the bus, expecting to hear the whoosh that would mean the end just any second. As I stood up, I saw my wife holding my new son and thought, just let him know how his dad died. Saving kids. There was no one left on the bus and I made my way to the back door in time to see several firemen spraying foam all over road, and only then did it dawn on me that I was going to live, that it was over and I was still alive. The next day, I had just finished feeding the boy and had my burping towel over my shoulder when there came a knock at my door. I opened it to find 2 teachers surrounded by the kids from the bus and more. They asked me if they could hang a banner they had made as a thank you to me and the 2 neighbors upstairs for me who had jimmied the front door open and got the driver out while I had been working from the back. I told them to go for it, and they hung a big long banner that had our 3 names on it, and the words of "We love you," in 2-foot letters. It was signed by every kid that was on the bus and the entire faculty. I went to my knees in tears, and all the kids struggled to get a hug in with me. I had proven my mettle in the best of ways. Epilogue. I actually caught hell from a few people for doing what I did, most notably, my father-in-law, who delighted in calling me an idiot and assuring me that he would have never done something so stupid. That was the day I figured out that my FIL was a piece of shit that couldn't be counted on to be of help.